Alright, we're already in video number 11. And as promised, video number 11 is going to be discussing the actual passer essays that use the B1 style and the B2 style. Remember, B1 was discussed in video number 9 and B2 was discussed in video number 10 in the last video prior to this. From videos 1 to 6, just want to remind you, I hope you won't get end up being confused. Video 1 to 6 is really only talking about one-sided question prompts. So these are question prompts which only mention one side of a particular issue or a controversy. And out of the 6 videos, video 1, video 2, and video 5, these are actually the lecture videos. And all the other videos like video 3 and 4 and 6 are in support of the lecture videos of videos 1, 2, and 5. So please don't forget, video 1 to 6 is all about one-sided question prompts. Let's now move on to videos number 7 to 11. These are crossover question prompts. So what I mean by the crossover, as you will see in video 7 where it was first discussed, is these deal with question prompts which explicitly mention two sides of a particular issue. And so when two sides of an issue are mentioned in the question prompt, then of course it kind of obligates the writer to discuss the two sides. So video number 7 is talking about the A2 style, which can also be used for one-sided question prompts. And of course, from video 9 onwards, from video 8 onwards, we began discussing the B styles, or the essays which discuss both sides of an issue in balance. Excuse me. So video number 9 is talking about the B1 and B2 style. So we're already now at video number 11 talking about actual passer essays that use either the B1 or the B2 style. Before we go on to the actual passer essays, I'd just like to show you an activity we had in class a few days back, wherein we saw this question proposition from December 5, really just a few months back. The proposition states that it's true that there are people who think that it's better to study in a group. So that's one side of the issue over there. While there are others who believe that it's beneficial for a student to study alone. And that's the other side of the issue there. So clearly this is a crossover question prompt. And what we did here is to, of course, you will see it from the very instruction itself, for the writer to discuss both these views and give your own opinion. What we did here is we underlined the key phrases here, like for example, studying in a group versus studying alone. So we really needed to underline these phrases so that we won't get lost. And then, of course, we also underlined the keyword of students. So what we're really talking about are people who are still in the studying age, whether it's better for them to study in a group or to study alone. If you remember all the way back from video 1, I did highly encourage everybody to invest 5 minutes of their time for the bulleting stage over here. Bulleting is really creating just an outline for your essay, and you're not really writing your essay yet. You're just working on the skeletal structure. And so what we did in class is this bulleting stage wherein, for example, for studying in a group, we talked about the benefit of brainstorming, or being able to pitch in ideas and to share ideas in order to widen the perspective, so to speak. This also aids in collaboration, and there's also a lot of interaction. There's an opportunity for clarification. It allows the students to display teamwork. So all of these are really group benefits. And then when it comes to the lessons themselves, the lesson of brainstorming is meant to make absorption or understanding of the lesson easier. If you also notice, we made sure that we will inject in that paragraph that studying a group works best for students who are comfortable with people. We really had to mention that because that's one of the first depending circumstance, so to speak. And then it also works best for difficult subjects requiring analysis and problem solving, such as mathematics or science. And funnily, the students also mentioned IELTS. And so all of these will form your first body paragraph. And then now we move on to the second body paragraph when we're talking about studying alone. There, of course, it also has its benefits. It will give greater concentration and focus for the student. And then of course it will promote independent learning, wherein the student is not forced to be fully dependent on others in order to acquire or to understand the lesson. Students are also able to better pace themselves because they're only working with their schedules in mind. Not There's no difficulty in trying to coordinate the schedules with other members of a group. And we did not forget to mention that this works best for students who are introverted and not sociable. And it also works best for memorization. Subjects which entail memorization or independent analysis, such as history or literature. Okay, so if you can see, the two depending circumstances are the subjects and the students. It depends on the student, it depends on the subject. So that being the case, the conclusion is now going to be both styles are effective. Typically of B styles, we always say that both are actually effective. But we qualify this further by saying depending on the student and the subject, as was discussed in here and in here. So the question prompt for December 5 just happened to be answerable by the it depends there. Let me just fix the borders so that you might want to look at the entire thing in one frame there. Okay. So and then the question prompt is over here on top from December 5. So can you imagine what impact this would have for the student who actually is trained to use the it depends style, wherein because of this training, the student is now able to detect that the best answer for this particular problem is, of course, to use the it depends. Um, Going back, remember when we had A1 style? So that was already an effective strategy, proven beyond doubt. And then when we had the A2 style, that kind of doubled the chances of the students to pass. And then since we introduced the B1 style, the chances for the student passing has now been tripled. And with the B2 style, the chances have now been quadrupled. And so if we go to the B3 style, then I mean, there are the chances are really they just quintuple. In other words, so first of all, let's talk about coexist. So the coexist from video number 9 or the B1 style. This was submitted. I mean, this was written by a student of mine from 2017. Listening, I'm sorry if you can't see it very well, but listening there is 8.5. Like, let's make that bigger slightly. Reading is a band 8. Writing was a band 7. And speaking was a 7.5. So the overall band score turns out to be band 8. And luckily for the student was thrown a question prompt about this. In some developing countries, children in rural communities do not have access to education. Some people believe it could be solved by schools and teachers. Others claim it could be better solved by the internet and computers. So clearly, it's a crossover, of course, from the question prompt itself and from the instruction for you to discuss both views. So we'll need to underline the keywords here. So, like for example, children in rural communities. There, we need to underline that. And then, of course, we are talking about access to education. All right. So to solve this access, then some people say that schools and teachers are needed in order to ensure that rural children will have access to computers, but others say it's better solved by the internet and computers. So with that having been said, I think we have covered all the key words or the key phrases, and then we can now begin to write the essay. And this is how the writer began the introduction. So access to education has been seen to be a major problem in some developing nations, most especially in the rural areas. We haven't actually discussed the introductory elements yet, but this is now what we call the hook style. And I did begin discussing the introductory elements in the previous videos. And then this is now the paraphrase all the way up to here, there. It is for this reason that some people believe that building classrooms and hiring teachers could somehow curb the issue. Excuse me, while others consider that computers. Let's just make sure that the corrections are made. Remember what I always keep saying, especially when I discuss actual pass or essays. Grammar is less important than the argumentative strategies that you use. So as you may have noticed, the writers have actually grammar errors by themselves, but this did not prevent them from scoring the band 7 that they were after. So their computers with internet access better solve. No, I'm sorry, that's my mistake. Better solves the issue. In this essay, I'll discuss both options. I'll offer my opinions at the end. So this part is now what we call the forecast statement. Forecast statement over there, and then this is the paraphrase over here, and then this is the opening hook, the hook statement. Don't worry, we'll be discussing this element in a separate video. So this is the first body paragraph talking about schools and teachers. Schools are believed to be the best venue for student learning since this is a place where most of interactions take place and where instructional materials such as books and encyclopedias are being kept as reference materials. As regards to teachers, they are known to be the most suitable person to teach and mold a young mind since they underwent formal education and series of trainings, which are known to be the basic elements of being a professional teacher. Thus, they are believed to deliver lessons well to the students. In addition, government officials should also consider allocating a huge amount of funds for education, particularly in building classrooms conducive for learning, as well as hiring highly competent teachers so that children could easily cope up with lessons very well. Very nice. So that exactly talked about schools and teachers. And I think all the topic sentences were well expounded and expanded and explained and elaborated. So the topic sentence is right in front, right over here. And then the rest of it is really just explanation and expansion. And so now we're moving to the internet and computers. In the second body paragraph, it is highlighted that schools and teachers could help solve this issue in limited access to education. However, computers and internet access could easily help solve the issue as well. Computers, there, computers with a S. Remember, this is the B1 style. So the B1 style is where the writer will discuss both sides of the issue and ultimately, subsequently, conclude by saying that both are actually important and can be used at the same time or can be applied at the same time. So that's what we call the coexist. So that explains the adverb over there. Computers could help solve the issue as well. Computers alone could really help in the education of children, most especially the offline resources such as the Encarta Encyclopedia and dictionaries, which could somehow aid in their vocabularies. Moreover, if computers are connected to the internet, then it could be a huge help. Students could explore the computers on their own and study on their own timing, or the so-called self-paced learning, where students could really study at their preferred time and manner. Aside from this, computers with internet access could offer resources that are not published in books and other printed materials. So the topic prompt on computers are over here. The internet is over here, and computers are over here. So with that being said, I think the writers already covered the relevant issue and relevant points, and so the writer is now ready to conclude by saying, building classrooms and hiring competent teachers could really help solve the issue in limited access to education, but the internet and computers could equally help as well. So both solutions are taken into consideration since both schools and teachers and internet computers really complement. Let's just correct the subject verb over there. Complement each other, then the world, most especially in areas where education is a major problem, could really cope up and provide a quality yet affordable education for all. That was a Band 7 essay, so you might want to take a look at it. You know the reason why this is a Band 7 essay, because it could have been higher, but I just felt that the writer did not discuss sufficiently about rural communities. Instead, the writer was really arguing in general terms about schools and teachers and internet and computers. It would have been it would have helped if the writer somehow made the discussion about rural areas more pronounced, in other words, in the essay. Wait, let me just fix all of that in a frame over there. So that's a question prompt itself over there, and then that's the first the introductory paragraph. And now we can fit the remaining paragraphs over here. Wait, we have the no, it's too thick yet. So this is the first body paragraph talking about schools and teachers. And then we are now proceeding to the second body paragraph together with the conclusion over there, over there. So There. Okay. So now you could fit that all together in one frame. So you might want to pause the video at this point. So that's the evidence for the B1 style, which was first discussed in video 9. In fact, there was an example of an essay that used a B1 style even early in video number 8. So that scored a band 7. So we're now ready to shut that down. Let's now go into an essay that talks about the a sample of the It Depends or the B2 style. So this was from April 2017. So the writers overall is 8, listening is 8.5, reading is 8.5, writing and speaking are both at 7. And so this was the question prompt. Developing countries need help from international organizations to develop their country. Some people think that help should be financial. Others, however, believe that practical aid and advice is more important. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So, of course, we will now be underlining the keywords. So, developing countries, of course, and then help from international organizations. We're not really not talking about countries, but international organizations. And the help should be financial over there, or could the help be practical in the form of practical aid and advice? There, those are the two sides of the issue. And so what the writer did is typical of the B styles is argue that they're both okay, they're both acceptable, but depending on the circumstance of the developing country itself, that uses the B2 style or the It Depends. So let's see how the essay went. Introductions over here. Helping people in need is a moral responsibility of mankind. There are those who think that is now what you call the hook statement. Alright. And then this is now the paraphrase. There are those who think that monetary assistance is beneficial to a progressing country. Others admit that practical aid and guidance is more advantageous. And then this is now the forecast statement. The writer believes that the situation where a third world country is in, okay, is in, hold on, let's just make the due corrections. Wait, where is that? I think that's under review over here. Track changes there. So there. Sorry about that. We need to make one more change there. Situation where country is in decides which assistance is more appropriate. So there you go. Money is a flexible resource. It can be converted to other forms of assistance like food, shelter, and clothing, which are essential for a developing country in need. So this part is talking about financial aid. So as an illustration, during the Typhoon Haiyan that hit the Philippines, many countries contributed financial assistance to aid the needs of the population in distress. The country used the money to purchase food and build houses for the affected community. Also, monetary assistance can be used to strengthen the military power of the country in order to address threats to the safety of the population. The aftermath of such destructive storm could push the people to steal not only food but also expensive devices which are not essential for survival. I already made the corrections over here if you notice. Thus, the need to strengthen law enforcement agency rises in order to prevent chaos. For instance, money can be used to purchase armors, artillery, and weaponry to increase the chances of preventing or eliminating lawlessness and calamity. So that is the paragraph which talks about financial aid. And then the writer now crosses over to the other side. Let's just try to fit that over the screen. On the other hand, realistic aid and counsel, I think this is really supposed to be practical aid, but it's the wrong word. And counsel are favorable for nations under the fires of war. Humanitarian efforts such as rescue and medical missions are necessary for the people affected by military disputes in their country. For example, Syria, a war-torn country, needs assistance from third world countries in order to engage its ailing population. Countries then send rescuers and health workers to aid the community with regards to their safety and health conditions. In addition, developed countries provide military training as a form of guidance to address current threats to the affected country's national security. These military exercises enhance the current level of competence of soldiers and law enforcers, and it boosts their morale knowing that they are trained with elite military personnel. And so what happens here is the writer now talks about practical aid and advice, and it is actually advisable or uh, appropriate for countries which are war torn. So all things considered, we must take into consideration what is the current situation of the developing country before deciding which form of assistance is more useful. Furthermore, the usefulness of aid, whether it be monetary or realistic, is correlated to the need of a developing country. So that is now the it depends condition. It really depends on the country. Both financial aid or practical aid are okay, but depends on the country concerned. In conclusion, certain circumstances dictate whether financial aid or practical aid advice is more useful for a developing country. That is a Band 7 essay. If you notice, quite a lot of language problems, and I just made the corrections accordingly. Wait, you might want to look at the entire essay. Wait there. All right, under a single frame. So let's just put all of that under a single frame. There's the introduction over there. This is the introductory paragraph and the first body paragraph. And now let's fit the rest of it under one screen as well. There. All right. That's it. Okay. All right. So by this time, everybody must have been already convinced that the it depends or the B2 style or the B1 style, the coexist, are real argumentative structures and they're effective for the IELTS exam as proven by the actual passer essays that you just saw right now. So for the next video, video number 12, we will now be talking about the most turns out to be the most popular of the styles. I mean, as far as my students are concerned, because of all the passer essays, a huge chunk of them have passed because they use the B3 style. I mean, that's supposed to be for video number 12. So that's something to look forward to. The B3 style. I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Again, if there are questions, you do just posit your questions in the comments box comment boxes below, and don't forget to click subscribe so that you will be duly alerted when the new videos come out. Thanks everybody, and have a good time. Have a good day. Bye bye.